Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I'm going to try to do this video all in one take this week. I'm going to try to. We'll see if I need to edit it at all. Because it's actually late Monday at this point. It's like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, probably closer to 5 o'clock right now. I actually went to New Jersey this last weekend to visit my mother for her birthday. She had a rough year. She's had a few surgeries. Her spinal fluid isn't flowing properly. But after the last few surgeries, she's able to walk. She's able to do everything fine again. But after such a hard year, I haven't visited New Jersey in about a year. I figured it was a good birthday present. So I spent a lot of time with the family. Had a nice 16-person dinner at one of my favorite pizza places back where I grew up called the Romans. And I got to see a bunch of friends that I knew before I started doing this, and that like I don't ever see unless I go back to New Jersey. So it was a good weekend. I'm tired as hell though, so getting this done as quickly as possible is definitely my best interest. A couple more things though first. I want to shout out the Square Enix community team for getting me a gift. It's a fat chocobo with a Christmas scarf and a hat and a bag where he keeps his Gazal green. So yeah, this is where he keeps his stash. That's what I've been telling people. So thank you, community team, Matt, Reinhardt, Lux, Akmorn, whatever you want to be called. I've got like 8 different nicknames for you at this point. And Aya. This is dope. And on top of that, I want to shout out the sponsors. I don't know if the sponsor list needs updating. I haven't had the time to check. I got in, ate, and then streamed immediately, so I didn't take much time to look over this. But we're just going to shout out our sponsors at the top of the show here. So, for those who don't know, we have sponsors over on Patreon because here on YouTube, everyone knows about the adpocalypse, you know, hashtag demonetized, all that stuff. Say a bad word, have a suggestive theme, and your video likely doesn't make much, if any, money at all. So to make sure I never need to delay my videos, I have a Patreon where it's very basic in terms of reward structure, and it's mostly just to make sure that here on YouTube we never need to delay anything, no matter what. So we have our standard sponsor. We have our standard sponsors. We have Afro Ninja from Malboro, Cheesecake from Leviathan, Sploda, the Lame Weeb, Ashen Emiya of Cerberus, MrSynestrrr, Argoti, Fafarian, Rendil, Giraffeswillrule, Stevie-Rex, and Neon. Thank you to our standard sponsors right there. We have our elite sponsors of Merida McKenzie, Eadric Red Steel, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus Free Company from Zodiark, Mars Techie, Ellisan Le'ore from Balmung, Sour Cream and Chives from Genova, Ignis Fairgun from Diablos. Actually, I feel like that one is not in the right place, but whatever. No, that one's in the right spot. Okay, Goisha Valfer of Serren, Jean-Francois, the Macho Lewis, Hersh, Fersh, the Fairy, Phoenix Free Company on Goblin, Cerren from Zodiark, and Rynoet Chikara. Those are our elite sponsors. And we have our premium sponsors of Kakazuma, Kiryoshi, and the Reckless Tea Party Free Company on Cactar. Oh yeah, no, yeah, because I have Ignis here. No, I was right. Ignis Fairgun is here twice because they upgraded. So thank you, Ignis. Valestra of Famfort was the other one I was thinking of. You also upgraded recently. Thank you. Noct Cordis from Excalibur, Krovos Moonscar, Nakuniyame of Balmung, Ira and the Avon Blanc Free Company on Zodiark, Johnnywa Odin of Tonberry, Private Mikey, Aqua Sacrifice, Obai Del Shamsi, Spike, Nadine Kirasame, Rudy Rudiger, TinColossus, Khuja Cross of the Genova server, Killer Hackman, Raul Jr, Darklight 2013, Arthur Mill Gaming, Bishop, and Kiltastic Jones. Thank you to all our sponsors. So I'm actually going to do at least one edit here at the beginning as we start the questions because my mouth's feeling a little too, you know, and I just want to clear that up real quick. So let's get started with the Q&A. Only like 9 questions this week. Alright, so question number 1. Hey, Haps, quick question. My regroup is casual and still have yet to clear 04 Savage. We have limited time to raid the week, 2 nights at 2. I'm guessing, 2, sometimes 3 hours, okay. Our problem is we don't need gear from 1 to 3, and it takes more time to oh, this shouldn't be a problem anymore. So this question was asked before the patch last Tuesday, so I'm going to assume this question's no longer relevant, because you can now do the Omegas in any order, which is really nice. That was one of the big things that I've been hoping that they were going to do instead of waiting until... Aloha? I think Aloha just got up. They no longer are waiting until the next even-numbered patch to release it. So, yeah, no, you're good. So, you're asking if they would do it, and, you know, after you asked this question, they did it. Alright, and question number 2. Greetings and salutations, Mr. H. Got 2 questions for you, bro. First, I'm looking at grabbing a Rival 500 mouse. I love when you guys ask me about SteelSeries stuff. As I find my current mouse, the UTech Smart Venus MMO mouse, I find I mostly use numbers 1 to 6. More, I find them more comfortable. And I like the way the Rival 500 is designed for around the thumb, and I remember you did a video a while back. I was wondering if you still use it and how you find it months later. So yes, I do use it. I got used to it in about a day or 2, and I still use it to this day. I was worried because I had only ever used mice that have a numpad on the side when I first got this one. So I was like, oh, SteelSeries, why couldn't you just be like everyone else? And then I ended up loving this mouse. So it ended up working really well for me. I still use it, still works fine, sturdy as ever. And hopefully it lasts many more patches. I guess I'll say that. Oh, and do SteelSeries website ship to the UK? #sell. Yes. If you go below the stream and you'll see the discount code, you'll see the link, and yes, they do ship to the UK. They ship to a bunch of countries, actually. You can see a whole list of countries that they ship to on their website. But I love the mouse and would highly recommend it. Second, very simply, I enjoy Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's a guilty pleasure game. Do you have any guilty pleasure games you play? Record Keeper used to be one before Stormblood came out. I haven't played it since. And I don't really have a game that I just play off stream that is like something I will just not make content on, not do YouTube, not do Twitch. I don't have one. Sometimes I'll play like really grindy games like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 off stream to grind them, and then so when I live stream them, I don't have to grind as much on stream. That's the closest thing you'll get. I could probably use a guilty pleasure game because, you know, could use it as a stress reliever, like after a day of playing whatever else I was playing that maybe I wasn't like the #1 most interesting thing I was playing. And, but no, I don't have one. And by the way, thank you for your time. Happy holidays to you and your Twitch chat. I'm not recording live right now, but you know what? They'll appreciate it all the same, and happy holidays to you too. All right, number 3, first time asking. Nice. I'm not sure if you have any interest in Triple Triad or not. I'm super into it personally, but I'd like your opinion on something. As it stands, the same 4 card rewards have been the same rewards for the last year since the tournament started. I think they'll eventually phase those out and place them in a position to be purchased with MGP and put in new rewards, something akin to the villain cards. Do you think it will remain the same? I think they'll always keep those cards in there. I don't think they'll ever rotate them out because I don't know. I just don't think they'll do it. I don't think they're really thinking about it or they really care. Will they never put new cards in, though? I wouldn't be surprised to see them put new cards in, and maybe make it so you have an additional options for obtaining the old cards, maybe through MGP or maybe through, like, packs that you can get with the MGP. But I don't know. I mean, Triple Triad is such an afterthought. Like, there are people who enjoy it. Like you said, you enjoy it personally. Some people just enjoy collecting the cards. Some people just enjoy playing it. You know, it is what it is. But is it something they're thinking about? Probably not devoting much, if any, resources at all into the idea of modifying the way that the current structure is for the Triple Triad tournaments. All right, number 4. Hey, Mr. Happy, Joker here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy. AKA, I can't wait for Blitzball in 14. Even he hates you for that one. Just want you to know that. Anyway, my question is for 11. I subbed a while ago after a long hiatus where the last time I played Wings of the Goddess was new. Anyway, I heard from you and other streamers that the leveling EXP game was boosted by an insane amount, and when I went to 75, Beastmaster to Bibiki Bay, I was getting 200 to 400 to kill. Bibiki Bay, I don't remember what level those are to you at 75. If those are just like even matches and toughs, that sounds like, you know, that sounds about right. But you also have to keep in mind that a lot of the times when we play, we're playing during what are basically considered promotion months. May and November were both celebrating the 15th anniversary in the game. And every month what they do is they have different bonuses that they rotate. Like sometimes it's you know, they make it so it's easier to gain skill ups or it's easier, or you get more experience points and more capacity points. It depends on the given month. So December is likely a month that just didn't have bonus experience points as one of its, I guess, rewards. Around the 15th of the month, I think, is when they actually set those in, and you're actually commenting on the 14th. So it could be that, but on top of that, you're also missing probably bonus EXP because you haven't done Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, and there's some bonus EXP to be gained in there. There's other bonuses to be gained from Records of Eminence, so you may want to take a look through your Records of Eminence, see if there's anything in there that would help you out additionally, and then come back to me with something else, or when you find out more about when the next EXP campaign is going to be. And more info on level 16 job killing V2 is 400 EXP, no bonuses. Yeah, without double EXP, that sounds about right. Also, I need a way to make some simple, easy gil. Good thing I mentioned Record of Eminence then. So if you haven't already become acquainted with it, basically they're like quests that you can just access from your menu and turn them on and off whenever you want and whatnot. And they give you something called Sparks, and there's NPCs where you can use Sparks to buy gear. One of the items, I think it's like a level 70 to 75 shield, is called an Acheron shield, and it costs about 2,700 Sparks, 2,700. I think it's like a little more than that, but it basically sells for approximately 27,000 gil. And when I say sells, I mean like to a vendor. So like there's no auction house with this thing. You just go to the nearest vendor and you just trash that shit for like 27,000 gil. So it's about one Spark is about equal to 10 gil, so the maximum amount of Sparks you can have is 99,999. It's worth about $1 million. Worth about $1 million gil. If you ever need gil, Sparks and Acheron Shields is probably the most consistent way to do it. Alright, number 5. Hey Haps, how you doing? I'm doing alright. You doing alright? He's doing alright. It's been a few weeks since I asked a question, but busy with life. Hey, better to be busy than not. But to the questions, recently I got a new PC and I don't want to shop for games outside of Steam. I was wondering if you have any idea, keyword idea, of when or if Dauntless will be hitting the Steam store. I think they made a post about that saying they currently had no intentions. So I'm going to say no. And A, I have no idea, and B, I don't think they have any intentions, at least not at the current moment, of going to the Steam store. Probably because they don't want to split money with Steam when they're first like up and coming. Although they could probably use the advertisement that comes with the game being on Steam. Also, with my new PC, I was wondering if I should invest in 4T on PC. Yeah, that's up to you. It's fine to play it on PS4. So if you want to play it on PC, I mean, that's on you. That's more money to spend. Is it a learning curve to play with mouse and keyboard? Yeah, I mean, it's like learning anything you've never done before, but it depends on how quick of a learner you are, how much experience you have with gaming on a mouse and keyboard in the first place. I would say just even if you were going to play it on PC, just probably stick to controller. The only downside is you don't have a push-talk button that you can rely on. There is a SteelSeries product that I'm going to be talking about in an upcoming video that may be a solution for you, but we'll talk about it when we actually get to that video, because I don't have like all the information in front of me right now regarding that product. That's already available on the SteelSeries store, so you can probably figure out what it is. Number 6, hello. Hi. After much thought, I have to ask 3 questions. Need some help on Final Coil Bahamut turn 4 on minimum. Oh yeah, that's right. You've asked me a bunch of minimum item level stuff, even though I don't do minimum item level stuff. I'd like to ask a 4.0 relic question. Okay. So 1, I've been having trouble with Bahamut at minimum I-123 for FCOB tier 4 as Paladin. The mitigations seem more tuned to have everyone participate. Alright, so I'm going to say this right now. All raids are tuned to have everyone participate. Raid mitigation is not a single person's responsibility. It doesn't matter if it's an attack that's only on the tank. You have Feint. You have things like Eye for an Eye. You have Eloquium shields. You have Nocturnal shields. You have, personal cooldowns. You have all these things. They're all meant to be used at appropriate moments. And things like Feint for Flatten in particular are quite effective. Or things like, what's it called? Addle for the... I think the Flare Breaths count as... Yeah, those are magic damage. So yeah, those could be addled. But yeah, you shouldn't be the only one mitigating it. It should be a group effort. Also, don't be afraid to use Hollowed Ground as mitigation super early in the fight. It's a pretty common thing to do, to use Hollowed Ground on like one of the first flattens, if not the first flatten. I think you can actually, with Paladin, I think you can Hollowed Ground 3 Flare Breaths and a flatten fairly early into the fight. But it's been so long since I've like done that fight normally, like minimum item level or like I did back in the day, that I can't remember in particular. What mitigations do you need for flattened downtime? I don't know. Do you need mitigations for flattened downtime? I don't know that there's enough damage there outside of the flare breaths that you would just die. I don't think so, at least. Then you say flatten, missing something, need another opinion. Reprisal, used for flatten. I mean, you should have Rampart, you should have Sentinel. You don't have Sheltron at that level, so you have Bulwark. Bulwark you might be able to use, but that's not 100% reliable. And then you should have Feint somewhere in the party. You should have a Palisade somewhere, I'd imagine, from like a Bard or something. You have a shield. You should have a shield for every flatten. There's no reason that you don't have an Eloquium or a Nocturnal Astro shield. There's no reason. If you don't have it, your healers are doing it wrong. Because flatten is a super long cooldown. It's not like it's an instant cast that maybe you have to like get some interesting timing to realize it. Like, it's at the same point in the fight every time. It's got super long cast time. There's no excuse you shouldn't have an Eloquium or a Nocturnal shield on every single flatten. And the Flare Breaths as well, to be honest. 2, is getting the minimum health gate still around 6,000? I mean, it should be with no Echo. You should have the same mitigations as you did. Honestly, 123 for a minimum item level for Final Coil is pretty generous. Like, that's well above what people beat it in, at the very least. So, yeah, we always used the Meld Vitality, though. So having over 6,000 was something that was pretty normal for us. We didn't always felt like we needed it, but it was always a nice, safe thing to have. 3 is the 4.x Relic Weapon. Now Armor Series is going to have job-specific quests. Nobody knows anything about Eureka. But keep in mind that it's in Eureka. You're not doing, like... You're not doing dungeons in the Duty Finder. You're going to Eureka to build your Relic Weapon and Armor. So, but nobody knows, other than that, nobody knows anything. So your guess is as good as mine. Alright, number 7. Hey, Mr. Happy. Final Sim here. Welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy. You answer. Okay. Why is it that you can do 12 Ixal Beast Tribe quests, or you can only do 3 Moogle Beast Tribe quests daily only? I don't remember why they did that. Back when we got the Ixals, I'm pretty sure we only had 6 daily Beast Tribe quests. So you just picked, if you were doing the Ixal, you picked the 6 best ones that you had based on your current rank. But it was also different because it was the last Beast Tribe that we got. I mean, the Moogles were also the last, but I'll finish my point first. It was the last one we had, and we had all these tokens that people were probably not using at the time. But then when we got the Moogles, how do I describe this? We had the level scaling on those ones, so they were a lot more useful for leveling, so they probably didn't want the Moogles hogging as many of the tokens. We also had double the amount of, not double, but close to double the amount of beast tribes at that point. So at that point, you couldn't really do another one that was dedicated like 6, 9, 12 quests to a single one. So it's probably just a matter of coming out at different times in the game when different amounts of things were available, and them also having a goal of how effective things were for leveling versus other rewards that came with it. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of factors, but yeah, I forgot that you could do so many Exalt Beast Tribe quests. 2, when do you think they will add, or what do you think they will do when they say they'll adjust the leveling for 50 to 60? I don't know. I mean, from what most people tell me, they just do leaves, collectibles, or Grand Company hand-ins for 50 to 60. So do they adjust collectibles, something that people are regularly recommended to do, or do they just adjust it so that, like, it's more beneficial to straight up make recipes from 50 to 60 than it was before? Maybe not the best thing to do still, but at least an option at the very least. So could be that, could be collectibles. We'll find out next month. And why don't we have Beast Tribe quests for gatherers? So I think that's because we don't have enough gatherers. There's only 3 gatherers in the game. And there's 8 crafters and there's 15 combat jobs. So that's another reason. That's why we get like 1 crafting Beast Tribe per expansion. Because there's more battle jobs than anything else. And there's so few gatherers that it's probably not worth making a Beast Tribe for gatherers. One option that's a possibility in the future, but would require a little bit extra dev time, would be to have quests that you have 2 options. You can either bring them an item that you get from gathering at a place, or from crafting it, or from crafting a specific item. I think that's an okay choice, and maybe they're already planning that for Stormblood, but I'd have to imagine the reason we don't have a gathering Beast Tribe, like a dedicated gathering Beast Tribe, is because there's only 3 jobs. It's just not as beneficial to have that as it is to have crafting or combat ones, which have far more options. Alright, so this one's not really fair for me. So somehow my mic got muted, and I've already answered this question, believe it or not. And it's a coin flip one. I had flipped, I can still throw this guy up in the air for you, but I flipped the fat Chocobo plushie and I got heads. So I already know what the heads question is. I don't know what the second one is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to answer both of these. You played Xenoblade 2. Imagine they've released Xenoblade 1 on Switch. Will you play that too? Man, Xenoblade 2 is held back so much by the Switch's hardware. Just the Switch doesn't do these big open world games so well. They're just always low frame rate, low resolution, and they run at barely 30 FPS in the first place, and then they dip below that. It's so unfortunate that these games are stuck on such an inferior piece of hardware, specifically for large open world games like this one. Would I play it though? Yeah, it would probably be okay compared to Xenoblade 2 in terms of technical, because it was designed for the Wii U. So I'd have to imagine it going to what is a stronger piece of hardware compared to the Wii U, the Switch. It'd probably run fine. It would probably still run into some hiccups, especially when undocked. But that's, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Xenoblade 2 enough to consider playing Xenoblade 1. I'm just not going to go through the route of getting Xenoblade 1 at this point. And since I didn't do the actual coin flip, let's see what the second one was. It appears that many players queuing up into Extreme Primals and are totally ignorant yesterday. A returning player who might didn't beat the fight yet, or who might have not beaten the fight. It was like, stupid mechanics, I want to fight. I replied, the mechanic is like a part of the fight. If you ignore it, you get swiped away. But your Square Enix put a warning pop-up in game for extreme modes, like this fight might pose a challenge. Listen, if you queue for extreme mode and you're like, I want to fight. Where are these? No, you're just a fucking idiot. That's all there is. And no, they're not gonna watch a YouTube guide in the thing. Honestly, why are people queuing up for 50 to 60 extreme primals anyways? You just, if anything, the pop-up should just say, yeah, just get to level 70 first and do this shit unsynced. Nobody does this shit synced anymore. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. Don't do that shit anymore. Nobody does that anymore. If anything, that's what the warning should say. No. This fight might pose a challenge, maybe, but why would you queue into something that says extreme? And think it's gonna be some like, you know, what's it called? It's some Rotten Sauce. Well, I can't remember the dude's name. It's some Cape Westwind shit. Yeah, we're gonna queue into Extreme thinking some Cape Westwind shit. No. That's on the individual. That's not Square Enix's responsibility. It's pretty clear. And the last question on the forums, which I've also answered because I accidentally muted myself when I was recording earlier. Happy howdy, Mr. Happy. With the decline of first-time bonuses, have a Mentor Roulette bonus of your favorite Final Fantasy series boss in Omega Part 2 or 3. I don't want I'm someone who's a huge Final Fantasy fan. You know what? For me, you know why I like Final Fantasy? Every game takes... It has references from the other games, you know, like Ifrit and Shiva and Cactars and Tomberries. Maybe a name, maybe a character that's recurring, but he's different, like Cid. That's fine, but you know what I remember? I remember every different Cid, you know? And it feels like when we have Omega, I literally don't give a shit about the fights in Omega from like an epic proportion scale. Neo Exdeath was a great interpretation, but it was so uninteresting. All 4 of the bosses, including Exdeath, were just, as a whole, they were just not interesting because they were not relevant to the game that I'm playing. They're just references to the old games that have as little needed backstory as possible, which is just how the Omega raid works. I don't want the old Final Fantasy bosses just like for them to rip like 4 bosses out of like Final Fantasy 7 or 4 bosses out of Final Fantasy 4, which honestly, I think it'll probably be Cagnazzo. I think it'll either be the original 4 Fiends or it'll be like Cagnazzo and that bunch from Final Fantasy 4. You know, one of the two I think is what it'll be, but it's just not an interesting idea. I like to remember Final Fantasy games for what they did uniquely. And you could argue that Final Fantasy 14, its unique thing is it could just pull from all the other ones, but for me that's not really unique. They all did that anyway. This one just does it in as direct a method as possible, and literally like, and lift, and drop, and we're just gonna make some bullshit backstory about why we can fight these bosses without actually needing real backstory. Hey, we have an entire raid tier. So I'll be paying attention to Omega's story, but I don't really care to drag any more bosses of my personal list into the Sigmascape and so forth. So you gave me a roulette. Like I said, I did these one muted already, so I'm just going to answer both of them. So shortness, not a lawful question. I haven't read this one. This one's new to me. So the Lamy and the Ananta have way too short tail sections where they stand on the tip and do not snakily slither. Can you make the next fruity question, Mr. Yoshida? I am not wasting any question I have for Yoshidi. For Yoshidi. I'm going to just read the whole question. Alright, and the last question, again, I already answered this and I muted, and it's another, like, 2-question roulette kind of thing, so I'm just going to answer both. Happy howdy, Mr. Happy. With the decline in first-time bonuses, have a mental roulette bonus of your favorite Final Fantasy series boss in Omega Part 2 or 3. I don't have a wish list for that. I don't like that they did that with Exdeath. Don't get me wrong, Exdeath and Neo Exdeath were really cool, but, like, it's, for me, when I think of Final Fantasy games, when I think of like why I like each one, it's not just because they reference each other, which Final Fantasy 14 does in spades. It's because I remember something unique about each of them. You know, when I think of let's say Final Fantasy 8, for example, you know, I remember the first time I got to the desert in that game and I saw the little island with the cactar, and then when I finally got there, it was a whole huge thing because literally it was a giant cactar. And then it was a summon, and like I just remember my brain going like, oh shit, that was a cactar. Oh shit, it's a jumbo cactar. Oh shit, he's also a summon. Like I just like went through each of those. Final Fantasy 14, when I saw that the Deltascape was just a bunch of bosses from Final Fantasy 5, first of all, I immediately figured it was going to be Exdeath, since you know it is the interdimensional rift. Although I thought he was going to be way later in Omega. And I thought he was going to actually have some relevance, which he doesn't. He's just literally like, yeah, Omega's just making shit up. And he landed with this guy. He's from some legend. Blah, blah, blah. No one cares. It was like, it just felt so anticlimactic to me. Omega's got a great story, but just the way they are using him to shove bosses from other games in there, that's not interesting to me. So I don't have a wish list for that. What do I think they'll do? Cagnazzo and crew from Final Fantasy 4, I think is going to be the next 4 bosses. You know, Rubicante and whatnot. So Barbarisha. So that's what I think it'll be. Who knows? But that's what I think. It's not my wish list though. That's just what I think it'll be. So like I said, I've seen both these questions already. So there's no point in me just answering one. I might as well answer both. So shortness, not a lawful question. So the Lamy and the Ananta have way too short tail sections where they stand on the tip and do not snakily slither. Can you make the next fruity question to Yoshida about fixing? No, not wasting a question on that. You know what? That's a question you can give to Koji. Ask Koji that at some point. And I'm not using that question on Koji either. Although I'm sure somebody now will at least try after seeing this. And number 2 was, would Lords of Verminion be better if... The answer is nothing. Since I've already answered before, I can just tell you. More maps were added, rival wings like or otherwise, be changed to RTS modes or maps. So the problem with Lords of Verminion is you're trying to sell a completely different genre within your game. And you know what? There are games where in minor spades that works. You know, sometimes you play one type of game that has like a mini like FPS thing, like it just takes like maybe 30 to 40 seconds. Maybe you have like a little arcade style game like Tiger and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But when you're trying to sell a completely different genre, like you put tons of development time into this, you've painstakingly made sure every minion in the game is included in this system at least at the time of its release. You've gone and made a full like single player experience with bosses. You know, you've set up PvP modes, you set up tournament, you put all this development time, but you're literally trying to sell something that nobody, you know, bought the game for in the first place. So no, none of this will make it better. If I want to play an RTS game, StarCraft 2 is free now. Normally I'd say I'll just go buy StarCraft 2 and maybe do custom maps or something like that. Final Fantasy 14 is not a Warcraft 3 where you're going to make custom games inside of Final Fantasy 14 like Dota, or I can't even remember the one where there's 4 bases with 3 heroes on each team and you can like power up. I don't even remember how that one works, but I used to watch my friend do that one all the time. Or a tower defense. Like, it's just not that game. It's a game where people play it with a certain expectation, and when you want different, but you don't want literally different genre different in the game. And I feel like nothing can save it. Just let it die. Maybe give it a few things to like bring it into the modern age, which they did, like with the you know, with the tournaments and whatnot, and then they did with the Triple Triad Battle Hall. You know, just stuff like that. But there's not a reason to touch it. Work on the stuff that is. You know, you need to either prove the new stuff will work, or you need to work on the new stuff that's coming that people already know that they, want. But nothing can save Lords of Verminion. I'm convinced of that. But anyway, that's going to be the last question from the forums, and I'm not live streaming on Twitch this week, so that's the last question for the whole week. So, thank you everyone, and again, sorry that this is so late, because I streamed before recording Mondays with Mr. Happy, and I'm not doing this live right now. And I muted. Literally, at the beginning of this video, I said I was going to try to do no edits, get it done real quick. I muted myself, and it's just, yeah, and I edited it anyway, so whatever, it's done, done. If you have questions for Mondays with Mr. Happy, be sure to ask them in the description of the video. Go to the Dream Network forums, click that, sign up, and ask your questions in the forum thread that's listed there. We've had like 8 to 9 questions, but each person's had like 2 or 3 questions the last few weeks. I'm trying to get a few more questions on there from some different people who haven't asked questions before, maybe, especially with the most recent live letter and with 4.2 coming up and whatnot. But anyway, since I'm already so late with this, I'm going to wrap that up there. Again, thank you to our sponsors, and ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. And until then, take care.